I don't know where else to post this. Maybe I just need to get it all down before I lose my mind, or I don't know. Someone out there maybe is going through the same thing. I don't know when it started. The first time I noticed something was off, it was small, tiny details I could ignore if I tried hard enough. Like how my favorite brand of cereal slightly had a different logo, or how my coworker's last name changed overnight. At first I figured I was misremembering things. We all do that, right? Mandela effect. The brain playing tricks, making us swear something was different than it actually was. I shrugged it off. But it kept happening. Every time I went to sleep, the world around me changed. It wasn't obvious at first, but just enough to make me doubt myself. The streets in my neighborhood weren't quite in the same place. A movie I knew I'd seen before suddenly didn't exist. My mom's birthday, moving by just a day. Still, I didn't panic. I figured I was just stressed, or maybe my sleep was being affected by something. I don't know. I made excuses, I tried to rationalize, until the day I woke up and found my brother sitting on my couch, controller in hand, playing Call of Duty like he used to. My brother has been dead for 6 years. I froze. I couldn't even breathe. I just stood there watching him, waiting for my brain to catch up and make sense of what I was seeing. "Yo," he said without looking up. "Finally up? You were out cold, man." My stomach twisted. My brother had died in a car accident when he was 20. I went to his funeral. I saw his body in the casket. I grieved for him, and yet here he was, acting like nothing ever happened. I forced myself to speak. "Bro." That was when he finally looked at me, his brows furrowing in confusion. "What?" It was him. His voice, his stupid lopsided grin, the scar above his eyebrow from when he fell off his skateboard as a kid. I felt like I was going insane. I had to get out of there. I muttered something about needing air and stumbled outside, my legs barely carrying me. My hands were shaking, my breathing was erratic. I leaned against a tree, just trying to force my brain to work. In this world, he never even got in that car. Maybe I never even called him that night. Maybe something I had done in my original world changed, and that one tiny thing was enough to keep him alive here. That was when I knew for sure this wasn't just in my head. I was shifting realities. After that, the changes became more drastic. One morning I woke up and saw a notification pop up on my phone, President Kanye West to hold emergency press conference. I thought it was a joke, a deepfake, an internet prank, but when I turned on the news, there it was, at the White House, talking about foreign policy like it was just another day. The next time, the moon was gone. I don't mean it was hidden behind clouds. I mean, it was literally like it didn't exist. I asked people about it and they all looked at me like I was crazy. The tide still moves, the nights were still dark, but no one remembered there ever being a moon in the sky. I tried to figure it out. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything I could remember before I went to sleep. I experimented, stayed up for days at a time, used caffeine to keep myself awake, but it never mattered. The moment I finally gave into exhaustion and slept, I woke up somewhere new. No matter what I did, I couldn't stay in one place. And then, just as I was starting to accept my fate, things got worse. It started following me. I first noticed it in a reality that seemed almost normal. The only difference I could find was that all the traffic lights were blue instead of red and green, that was it. No dead brothers, no missing moon, just blue traffic lights. Then out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. It was tall. Too tall. His body twisted in ways that he made my stomach turn. He didn't have a face. At least not one that made any sense to my brain. Every time I blinked, it seemed to shift. Like it wasn't bound by the same laws of reality by anything else, and no one else saw it. I tested it. I asked a stranger if they saw anything weird standing at the edge of the street. They just looked at me funny and walked away. That's when I knew, whatever it was here for me. The next time I fell asleep, I woke up in a new reality, and it was there. It doesn't speak. It doesn't run. It just stands there, watching. Always just far enough away that I can pretend I'm imagining it. But I know better. Every single time I shift, it finds me again. I don't know what it wants. Maybe it's hunting me. Maybe it's the will of the universe itself sent to fix the mistake of me. Because let's be honest, something like this isn't supposed to happen. I shouldn't be slipping between worlds like a glitch in a broken video game. I've been using my ability to run. Every time I see it, I force myself to sleep, hoping I'll land somewhere safe, but the truth is, I don't think I'll ever find a safe place. I don't think I can keep running forever. Eventually, I'm gonna wake up in a world that kills me first. Or the thing, or whatever it is, will finally catch me. And the worst part? I have no reason to believe that there's a reality out there with the answers I need. I've already accepted that I'm never going home. So I'm posting this here just because maybe someone else has seen the signs. Maybe you've noticed little changes or things you can't quite explain. If you have, don't ignore them. I'm going to sleep now. I just hope that wherever I wake up next isn't worse than here. Grandma's scary stories were my favorite. Specifically, the story about the shower and Mr. Longfingers. Years later, that's the only scary story that I can remember. The only one that stuck with me. Grandma told me about Mr. Longfingers one night after I asked her about her baths. Grandma used to love her baths. She'd spend ages in them. Light candles and incense and lie in the tub humming to herself until the water turned cold. It drove my mom crazy. But when I asked her why she loved him so much, she said it was the only place she could relax. The only place that was safe for her to relax. You know, people like me who are, well, more sensitive to certain things, we have to take baths. She told me seriously one night, shuffling closer on the bed. I couldn't possibly spend that long in the shower. It'd be far too risky. Grandma stared at me with those big blue eyes of hers, unsmiling. And I knew it was time for one of her stories. One of the scary ones. I shivered, but with pleasure, and pulled the covers up to my chin. Why is it risky, Grandma? She half turned to look out the window, watching me from the corner of her eye, pausing for effect. I waited, feeling my heart rate pick up ever so slightly in my chest. Well, she said after a moment, it's only risky if you close your eyes, of course. If you close your eyes for any longer than 10 seconds. What do you mean? Why? Well, do you ever play that game in the playground with your friends? The one where someone turns their back and the others sneak up on them while they're not looking? I nodded. Grandma nodded back. Exactly. So that's what it's like in the shower, when you have your eyes closed. That's what it's like with Mr. Longfingers. So, who is Mr. Longfingers, Grandma? She let out a deep breath as if she wished she hadn't said anything, turned her back to face mine. When she next spoke, she lowered her voice. No one knows exactly, Grandma whispered. Some think it's a creature that's attracted to the heat and smell we give off in there. Others think it's a demon that finds a way into our realm through the dense steam clouds. No one can say for sure, because the only ones who have actually seen Mr. Longfingers aren't ever gonna be able to tell you. Why not? Grandma shuffled closer along the bed and leaned towards me, leaving my question hanging in the air. Don't you worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry your pretty little head. As long as you remember the rules, you'll be fine. What rules? Well, when you're in the shower, you try not to close your eyes for too long. 5 seconds is fine, and 10 is just about okay, too. But any longer than that... Yeah, what? Then what? Well, any longer than that, and you just may start to feel something in the room with you. Something watching. And if you go longer than 15 seconds, that's when you might start to hear a noise, too. Hear what? The soft tap, tap, tap of fingers on the glass. Fingers drumming against the glass door of the shower. If you do ever hear that noise, God forbid, will you make me a promise? What, Grandma? Promise me you'll never open your eyes. I barely slept that night. Hardly at all. I'd close my eyes and try to relax, but every time I did, I imagined a face pressed up against my bedroom window, staring in at me. And when I did finally go to sleep, I had nightmares. Bad ones. I had them all week. Dreams about disembodied eyes watching me in the dark and long fingers reaching out to touch my exposed skin. And it wasn't any better when I was awake either, not really. The shower was the worst. That's when Grandma's story really got to me. I never thought about it before, but suddenly I had trouble shutting my eyes in there. I'd be standing beneath the beating water, shampoo running down my face, and as soon as I squinted my eyes, I could hear Grandma's words running through my head. 5 seconds is fine, and 10 is just about okay, but any longer than that... I'd rub my hair fast, feeling the shampoo dripping off my chin, and as soon as I counted past 5 seconds, I'd feel it. A sort of pressure. Not a feeling of being watched exactly, but something close to that. I'd run my fingers faster through my hair, frantically trying to get the suds out, and the ready blackness behind my eyes closed, and coupled with the rush of water in my ears, the seconds would race through my mind, and I'd be so desperate to open my eyes again that sometimes I'd do it before my hair was rinsed fully clean and my eyes would sting with shampoo. But before I shut them again, I'd always be sure to peer through the stained glass door of the shower cubicle, just to make sure I was still alone. It wasn't long before Mom realized something was up. She heard me crying out in my sleep one night and came to comfort me. Asked what the matter was, and it all came out. I told her about Grandma's stories and Mr. Longfingers, and she got this look on her face when I was telling her, like, I don't know, she used to get with me when I made her really mad. This wide-eyed, angry look. Only this time she wasn't angry with me. She was angry with Grandma. My parents' room was right next to mine, and sometimes if I pressed my ear against the wall, I could hear them talking in there, soft whispers. That night, though, after Mom was sure I wasn't scared anymore, and she had gone back to her room, the whispers weren't soft at all. I heard Mom hissing to Dad about Grandma, about the stories she told me. Mom's voice floated to the wall, sharp and crisp. "Do you know what your mother said to him now, Simon?" Dad's response was an unintelligible mutter. "She's told him there's a monster that'll get him if he shuts his eyes in the shower. A monster. The poor kid's been having nightmares about it all week. Seriously, Simon. You better get to say something to her tomorrow morning, first thing, or I will." Grandma came to visit me in my room the following night. That time, as she perched on her end of the bed, there were no stories. Grandma just sat there and stared down at me, her blue eyes wide and sad. The light from the moon lit up my window and her wrinkled face. "You know I wouldn't let anything bad happen to you," she said after a moment. I nodded my head. I know, Grandma. "You know I wouldn't let you come to any harm." I nodded again. "Okay, good. That's good." She looked away from me for a moment out the window. "You know, the things I tell you in the evening are meant to help you, sweetheart, but they're meant to toughen you up a bit. Yeah, protect you." She paused and shook her head. "But maybe your mom's right. Maybe I went too far this time." "I'll tell you what," Grandma said. "You know what I told you about Mr. Longfingers in the shower? Well, I'm going to make sure you're safe. I'll scare that bastard off, how about that? It won't come back in a hurry if it has to face me." I stared up at Grandma, watching her face glow in the moonlight, watching her smile down at me, and I nodded my head once. I was the one who found her. I don't know exactly when it happened. I'd guess about after a week after we had that talk in my room, a week after she told me she wouldn't let me come to any harm. I woke up early that morning from a bad dream to a heavy thumping sound. I sat bolt upright in my bed. My room was quiet around me and I couldn't hear anything from the wall that joined my parents' room. But the house wasn't entirely silent. Floating down the hall, muffled by my closed door, I could hear the sound of rushing water. The noise of a shower. I leapt out of bed and ran down the upstairs hallway, heart already pounding in my chest. As soon as I reached the closed bathroom door, I started banging on it. And I kept banging and shouting, "Grandma! Grandma!" over and over again. She didn't respond. Off to my right, I was dimly aware of voices from my parents' room, the sleepy shuffle of footsteps, but before they had a chance to make it out into the landing, I lifted my hand to test the door handle. More out of instinct because I thought it might actually open, but the door wasn't locked. I kept banging with my free hand, and it swung suddenly inwards, bringing me face to face with a wall of steam. Heat struck my skin. I squinted my eyes against the damp fog and peered into the bathroom. And before Dad pushed me to one side, before everything around me descended into shouting, tears, and chaos, I saw her. I saw Grandma. She was lying naked on the floor in the shower cubicle, the water beating down around her. One hand was curled against her chest like a dead bird, while the other tangled against the glass of the shower cubicle. The flailing finger marks she carved through the steam, still clear and fresh. It was a heart attack that killed her. That's what my dad told me. He said Grandma was old and the thing had struck her quickly and suddenly. She died fast and without pain, he said, but I knew better though. Even as a 10-year-old kid, I knew better. And years later, writing this thing as an adult, I still know better. I also know my wife and kids resent me for refusing to have a shower in the house, for insisting everyone takes baths. They pretend it's okay and they humor me, but I can tell they don't really understand it. Not at all. My wife thinks that she does. She thinks I still carry the trauma of seeing my grandmother dying in front of me when I was little. I mean, I guess she's right in a way, but she doesn't know the full truth. Nobody does. No one would believe me if I said the reason I don't take showers, the reason why I haven't taken one since 10 years old, is because I'm scared of the sight of a dead body. But even then, I mean, that sounds, at least worldly, realistic, relatively. But they really wouldn't believe me if I told them the real reason. It's because all those years ago, when I crept back into the still hot bathroom, after the paramedics had taken Grandma's body downstairs, I had made sure to check the marks her fingers had carved through the stained glass of the shower cubicle. And those marks weren't just on the inside.